basically as the single most powerful catalyst, right, for transforming Africa's chronically underinvested power sector. And this should be good news for everybody. So basically, what's been happening is that data centers require massive amount of energy. So we're moving from $3.5 billion today to nearly $7 billion in 2030. What is going to happen is that as we are creating those data centers requires electricity to run effectively. And so basically, one problem or one infrastructure challenge, which is data center, is having a knock-on effect on electricity production as well. So as we begin to fix the infrastructure that has to do with data center, we are inadvertently also fixing the issue that has to do with chronic underinvestment in the power sector. So what's going to happen is that, so basically this causing a convergence. And what that convergence means is that these two infrastructure challenges are merging into one mega opportunity. And what is it? So dual infrastructure investment that is simultaneously funding for digital and power grid. So you're not going to be able to, or investors are not going to just fund data centers. If you're going to fund data centers, you also have to fund power generation. And when that happens, something beautiful happens, because it's not your traditional kind of fossil fuel driven power generation that these days data center providers require. They require renewable energy. So as more money is being poured into data centers, more money is also being poured into renewable energy, in terms of electricity production. And that has a knock-on effect on economic transformation as well, right? Okay, so this is where we are. Let's look at the challenges that are hitting Africa today. So in today's terms, nearly 600 million Africans do not have access to electricity. Let that sink in. That is a whopping 40%. So 600 million Africans do not have access to electricity at all. For those who do have access to electricity, this is what is happening. They are also having issues, or a large percentage also have issues regards to frequent outages and rolling blackouts. It's everywhere. Some countries more so than others. Let me put that in perspective. For some countries, the power outages are not that severe. For others, it's seriously chronic. So for these, it impacts business operations. Even though they have electricity, but to what extent? And if the electricity is not reliable, then what happens is that it has a knock-on effect on business disruption, that's here, and then economic impact. So the overall impact is that these energy deficits severely limit economic progress, innovation, and quality of life across the continent, right? So for decades, Africa's power sector has struggled to attract long-term capital that it desperately needs. And this is the result of government debt burdens that limit public investments. Also, another factor is investors typically are deterred or not encouraged by currency risks or currency fluctuations, and most importantly, sometimes regulatory uncertainty. Okay, regulatory uncertainty is a big red flag for, or has been a big red flag for most would-be investors. And then also questions about ROI, or their return on investment. Okay, so all these things have been part of the reasons why Africa has struggled, particularly in the area of power generation. And the resulting effect is that this creates a vicious cycle where unreliable power deters industrial investment, or think about industrial manufacturing. You can't do that without reliable power supply. And when that happens, this limits productivity. And then, in part, or the knock-on effect is that it constrains the ability to generate the much needed revenue that needs to be invested back into infrastructure. So it's like a double whammy effect.